Welcome to Zooming with Driven. This is our weekly motoring news program around New Zealand and around the world. I am not Sam Wallace, our regular anchor. He is touring Australia at the moment and taking his shirt off every chance he gets to try and show off his abs in Bondi Beach. So he's away for this week at the moment. We'll cover everything in his place. But first, thanks to Honda. Only one price, the best price. Honda supporter of Zooming with Driven. And some Honda news coming up shortly as well. So let's kick off with that and jump straight into the news. I'm actually going to kick off the news for a change. A quick call-out reminder, used car reviews. Now, we obviously cover new cars. We test drive cars all the time. We want you to actually tell us what you think about a car. Whether you've owned a car for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, or whatever, go online to driven.co.nz, check out the used car reviews, and let us know what you think of your car. So whether it's everything from, what have we got here? A Daihatsu to a DeLorean and a Koenigsegg to even a Suzuki Ignis, a lowly Suzuki Ignis. So, whatever you own, could be a Camry, could be a Corolla, anything like that. Just go and let us know what you think about the car, good and bad. Like any product review, it helps other people potentially buying that car as well. So there you go. Used car reviews, go and check it out. Other news story of the week, Honda Civic Type R sold out within 2 days on its first allocation. What was that, 9 months ago, I think that was.
Seems like so long ago.
Yeah. Good news, everybody. 50 more have been announced by Honda New Zealand. It announced it on its Facebook page, so almost not wanting to make news about it, probably because there's so many.
I mean, they're going to go straight away, aren't they? So they don't really need to publicise it too much. So sorry, Honda.
Yeah. Honda, we want more, of course. Probably the world does, but we went to the launch of it at Pukekohe. Fantastic car, and what an all-rounder, what a brilliant package. It's probably the model, certainly that I'd buy, and out of all the Civic Type Rs, the latest is generally the best.
Yep.
There were some other great Hondas on that day. Integra Type R is one example, but the latest and greatest Honda Civic Type R, there's 50 more. The ballot is kind of open. They're doing a similar thing to Toyota because you have to enter a ballot, which is open until May 14. And if you win part of that ballot, you've got to put your $1,000 in.
I've learnt something that they're doing a ballot. I did not know this.
They are.
Honda was doing a ballot.
Yeah. And then if you're successful in the ballot, you've got to pay another $4,000. So basically you've got to pay $5,000 as your deposit on what is a $72,000 car. Yeah. So that's quite an expensive car, but a lot of car for its money as well.
It's a pretty cool car. And 50 is a good number because Toyota's broken up the GR Corolla into lots of 50 as well.
Yeah, funnily enough. Yeah, Toyota GR Corolla doing the same thing.
See that beautiful segue.
Perfect.
So Toyota held one ballot for the GR Corolla back in February, I think it was, and that was really oversubscribed. So they're only allowed 150 for the year. They've broken it up into 3 lots of roughly 50. I think it was in the thousands, the applicants for the first lot. So the second ballot is actually open now. It's open until, I think, midday, April 17. No deposit required for Toyota. They say it's open to anybody who is, and I quote, serious about buying a GR Corolla. The CEO of Toyota New Zealand, Neeraj Lala, held a press conference at the Toyota Festival a couple of weeks ago, and he did say in the previous ballot they did cancel one person's order because it became known that they intended to sell it immediately. In fact, I think they might have actually advertised it for sale before they actually received the car.
No way.
Toyota said, excuse me, you're not having it. So
it's a mistake.
So it's for serious buyers only, but it's a very fair way to do it. And actually, another thing he said was the whole thing was inspired by Nike sneakers. He's a bit of a Nike, Neeraj is a bit of a Nike sneaker fan. And for limited edition sneakers, they sometimes run ballots. And that's where he got the idea. So so it's from sneakers to cars.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Very, very timely with the Air movie coming out with Nike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming out April, April 5.
Yeah, I've seen the billboards.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Okay, well, quick question. What would you go, quick ballot here, vote, Civic Type R or GR Corolla?
Oh, so you're asking me would I choose the car from the sponsor of our show,
yes,
or would I choose a Toyota? I actually love them both. I would probably go the Toyota because I do love a hot Corolla.
Yep.
So that's it's slightly perverse, a hot Corolla, but something the great thing about going to the Toyota Festival, which I went to a couple of weeks ago and I wasn't here to talk about it last week, is all of those old kind of hot Corollas that you sometimes forget about, but then they pop up again, like the GT with the Yamaha engine from many moons ago, from 20 years ago. So yeah, love a hot Corolla. Put me down for one of those.
Corolla, Damien?
I would go for the Corolla too.
Okay.
Largely based around the fact that it's much easier to get in and out of. Being a larger, aging gentleman. The Civic is incredibly hard to get in and out of with those heavily sculpted racing seats, and it's just,
It is. It feels more like a race car.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Which
the
is
Corolla
cool.
feels more like a really rip-snorting fast family hand.
Yeah.
I like the fact that I probably like the Yaris over the Corolla because the fact that the Corolla uses that same three-cylinder
You
engine.
didn't give us that as an option. I mean, I'd go for the Yaris any day of the week.
So between these two, I would, totally objective independently, thank you, Honda, I would actually go the Civic Type R because I like the larger engine. I like the more torque and power and just the insanity of that car.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more up on that insane level than the Corolla is. So.
Yeah, I just would go for anything with a three-cylinder engine, so it doesn't actually matter what sort of car it is.
That's true.
You've got three cylinders, I'm in.
Yep. So last week I had a look at, very briefly looked at the Toyota Festival, but you're back now and I want to find out more about the Toyota Festival.
Well, because it was a weekend of 10th anniversaries, actually, because it was the 10th anniversary of the Toyota Festival. It was the 10th anniversary of the Toyota 86, which is now the GR 86, which really was the catalyst for the festival starting, the launch of the 86. And it was also the 10th anniversary of Highlands Motorsport Park, which is where we were for the festival. So
10 years already.
3 lots of 10. March 31st was the 10th anniversary of the opening of Highlands.
Wow.
And it was an interesting story. A guy called Paul Pettit, who was there at the festival, he's been pretty much every year, I think. He started it all with a group of a group of Toyota 86 owners, and they had gatherings. And he actually went to Neeraj Lala, who is now the CEO of Toyota New Zealand, but at that time was the marketing manager. And he said, "You should actually be paying for this because I'm getting all of your customers together." And he said, "Yes, okay," and signed a big check. And that's how the whole festival started. And now it alternates between Highlands and Hampton Downs. Hampton Downs is obviously the much bigger festival. I think they have about twice as many cars on the track. But Highlands is kind of the glamour one, isn't it? Because it's down in Central Otago. It's a beautiful location. And I guess there's potential. It did start out at Taupo, and there's potential for it to go back there now because, of course, that's part of the Tony Quinn group of tracks now too. So, there's going to be some interesting stuff happening there. But it's a great event. There's a show and shine. It's absolutely free to go along, just have a look if you want to. Anyone can just roll up, have a wander around. There are some absolutely fantastic cars in the show and shine. Participants can buy track packages. So there's one called Track Plus, which is $260, and that gives you like all the track sessions for the day, and it's catered and everything. There's a Track Light, which is sort of half the track sessions. There's a 4x4 Trek on day 2, so they all go up into the hills off Central Otago. So it's a really great day, and of course, one of the highlights for everybody is at sort of around lunchtime, you have the parade lap. So anybody with a Toyota or Lexus vehicle is welcome to come on the track. They always line all the cars up for a big group photo. And of course, the car's stretched at Highlands. I mean, it's quite a long track, and the car's actually stretched all the way around the track. It almost met its own tail. So that's always a big thing. And they invite everyone to come out and stand by the cars and do the big hands up wave for the big photo. The photographer's on the cherry picker. So really great day. And it's funny, we sort of think of Toyota as being quite a mainstream, some might say boring brand sometimes, but the passion of Toyota owners who are there, and not just Toyota owners with relatively exotic cars. Toyota owners roll up in their Corollas and Land Cruisers and things, and they just all love the brand. It's a huge amount of fun, and it's the first time I've been, and it was great.
Like the Hyundai N Festival that was held late last year, and BMW's M Days, and I mean days like this, the Toyota Festival is fantastic. Honda, get on it. Type R Day.
One funny story to finish. Neeraj, who was at the festival on the Friday night, so not there for the Saturday. So it's the 10th year. He was the instigator of it. He signed the check initially, and he's kept it going. It's grown into a great thing. He's a very busy man. He's not actually attended a single one. He's always had something else that he's had to do, and that included this year when he was there on Friday night and he had to fly back home on Saturday before the festival started. So I'm sure he won't mind me sharing that because he shared it with us, but that's just a measure of how busy he is, not a measure of how enthusiastic he is about the festival.
Well, that's actually the thing that always strikes me about Toyota. You say about how their owners are very passionate about the cars. So are the people at Toyota that work for Toyota.
They are, yeah.
The number of people at the Toyota that own classic Toyotas and have got all their... It's quite remarkable.
And the Hilux GR, did you get to drive that?
No. So they unveiled a bunch of GR stuff. There's limited edition GR86 Coupe, the orange one, which you will have seen on DRIVEN.co.nz. And yes, of course, they pulled the covers off the Hilux GR Sport. Not available to drive, unfortunately. It may have found its way onto the track during the parade lap in the hands of someone from Toyota New Zealand, even though they said we weren't allowed to drive it. But that's obviously a model that's coming that everyone's really looking forward to. So that was just a single sort of display unit, and they pulled the covers off it at about 10 o'clock on the Saturday morning, just for all the Toyota fans there. So that was great. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. And we've got some police dog news, I hear.
Woof. Yeah. Yes.
That's dog for yes?
Yes. So, I mean, I can kick this off if you like. Damien and I actually went down to Hamilton to the big reveal of the new police. I don't know what to call it. They call it a dog van sometimes. We're calling it a dog wagon. So it's basically the new dedicated dog transport for New Zealand Police. So since 2016, they've had Holden Equinoxes and Commodore VF utes. So do two different things. They've got one dedicated model now. It's based on the Superb, which of course is the prime one patrol car now, but fully kitted out. It's all been developed by a working group. Massey University's been involved, and it's built by Wade Group in Hamilton, which is the conversion specialist for the police. So they do all of the police stuff. So it's been designed by them. It's really brilliant. There's like a storage area in the middle of the car. There's a dog pod to the side. There's a couple of new features they're really proud of. It's all air conditioned and it's all automatic. So if it reaches a certain temperature, I think it's 28 degrees.
28 degrees, it opens the flap on the roof to let air in.
Oh, wow.
And 32 degrees, it drops all the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And the dogs have got, this is an inconsequential, but it's the bit I love. They've got magnetic dog porta poles. So, they stick to the floor of the car so they don't move around. So
They get tipped over.
And one of the other new features they're very proud of is a remote window drop. So the idea is you pull up to an incident and the dog's in the car, and the dog stays in the car because they don't deploy the dogs for no reason. The handler is attending an incident. The handler feels under threat or there's a situation where they need assistance. They can drop the interior and exterior windows to release the dog. So the dog can jump out the passenger side window and come to the assistance of the handler.
Wow.
Which they demonstrated all of the stuff. It was all really great. And the other great thing they had was some of the old dog vans or dog wagons, including the 1965 Holden dog wagon. So you can see pictures of all of these on driven.co.nz and a great video that Damien's done of some of the demonstrations.
It's very literally a Monty Burns release the hounds.
It is. I did say that. No one seemed to think it was funny.
No.
Oh, okay.
Release the hounds.
No. You'd hope that the police officer would say that when he's pushing the remote
That's right.
to lower the windows.
Yeah, when the perp is running, hey, would you like me to get the dog onto you?
Yeah. So they've been trialling one of these dog wagons in the Waikato since November. They're officially deployed from this week. There's one in Auckland now. There's 15 to 20, I think, going on the road before June. Eventually, there's going to be about 120 or 130 because that's how many dedicated dog vans they have on the road. So it's a really impressive piece of kit, and sort of it's a real step up from just, nothing wrong with the Holdens that they were using, but this seems to be a real step up in terms of technology and a dedicated sort of design, especially to look after the dogs and the handlers. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Air conditioner, no more police hot dogs.
Very cool. There's little stickers on the sides of the cars that say air conditioned for animal welfare. So, yeah, brilliant.
So you can't rap on the window going, hey, you take care of your dog.
The dogs are being
AC
very well taken care of.
Absolutely, yeah. Chilling
I
out.
don't think you'd want to go and knock on the window of a police dog van anyway, though. But I mean,
You never know, some people.
no, that's true. Yeah.
Cool. And we've got something that's gone to a little bit of a virtual world in a couple of ways, Damo.
Yes, something a bit different. Reviewing this week was a PlayStation VR2 headset with Gran Turismo 7. I spent a bit of time with it.
Yep.
And it is really quite remarkable.
Yeah.
It is such a huge step up from the previous generation one.
So you've had VR1
Yes.
with Gran Turismo.
Yes.
What's the improvements like?
Oh, the graphics for a start. It's just the resolution is much, much higher. Probably the cleverest feature in it is the eye tracking. So you're wearing the headset, and it actually tracks where you're looking inside the headset. So there's some games that you can run through the menus just by looking at them. But in Gran Turismo, what it does is the area of the screen that you're looking at is rendered in full resolution. Every other area on the screen drops down to a much lower resolution. You can't see it because you're not looking directly at it. And as soon as you look at it, if someone's watching the telly from the outside, watching you play, they'll see the resolution changing on the screen.
It's like a focus point.
Yeah. basically, but it just helps the PlayStation render everything faster by dropping the resolution on everything else. But it's absolutely amazing. The absolute highlight is not actually the racing in Gran Turismo. This time around, you can actually race everything. Every race, every car is available to be used in VR, unlike the previous generation one where it was only certain races and certain cars. But you can also go into your garage and look at your cars in VR, and it is spectacular.
I'm doing
detail.
Porsche 959.
Yeah, I know you'll be.
I'll be there for hours.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. But the level of detail is remarkable, which leads us nicely into my second news piece, which is that Skoda in New Zealand has just started having virtual reality showrooms, basically, in its showrooms for the ENIAC IV.
So you go into the physical showroom?
You go into the showroom, they pop a virtual reality headset on you, and you can look all around the car, you can spec it to hair like. It's simply down to supply constraints. They can only get one model of car basically in at the moment.
Because if a car's sitting there in the showroom, why would you go to a VR headset?
They've only got the one spec. I think they've got the Sportline Max, which is like the SUV with everything. But they don't have the lower spec one, and in particular, they don't have the coupe, which they are going to be selling. So I think people want to see sort of what the coupe looks like in certain colours and everything.
Okay. So you go to a physical live showroom and then put a computer headset on.
Yes, to look at the car. Yep. But apparently it's they've had several customers sign sales agreements on the back of the virtual reality experience.
Wow.
And I think this is something new actually for New Zealand, because they're doing it in the Czech Republic, but only in a few dealerships. In New Zealand, it's actually nationwide. So we're the first country in the world to have nationwide.
First country outside Europe
Skoda,
and first in the world to do nationwide.
Wow, interesting.
So
if you want a VR experience, go to Skoda.
Yeah. Have a look at your ENIAC in detail. And having to say, I'm assuming it's going to be a similar graphical fidelity as the Gran Turismo 7 one, and like the level of detail is staggering.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely amazing.
Okay.
So Dean would go into the showroom and he'd put the headset on and he'd go, "Yep, that's fine. Can you show me the coupe next to a Porsche 959 just to compare the scale?"
Yeah, definitely do that.
That was my big news of the week. 959 being launched on GT7. I mean, nothing else mattered.
Well, I would argue the Toyota Alphard GT7 was far more. But anyway, that's me.
Speaking of motorsport, not really, but let's go into it. We had obviously Formula One that was in Melbourne, as Americans pronounce, last weekend. Interesting race with, I think, the most red flags in a Formula One race ever. And basically McLaren getting in the points, Oscar Piastri getting in the points. So interesting race, even though it's a horrible circuit. However, that does lead me into the fact that we got some research that we've run on driven.co this week about the best Formula One circuits. Now, this is a little bit arbitrary, a little bit spurious research here, because this company has sent us the research about the best Formula One circuits on Instagram tagging.
Oh, that's a scientific method. So.
Very much so. Thank you.
So that's probably not the hardcore F1 crowd.
No.
Maybe not, but let's see. Let's run through the list as well. I got the top 6 here. So credibility, it starts off with number 1, Suzuka. Fantastic track. 254,000 hashtags on Suzuka. It's the only track in the calendar with a figure 8 crossover. It's such an iconic, had so many historical moments at Suzuka.
It's like a really cool slot car set.
It is cool, yeah. It is also very much a fixture of the Gran Turismo game series too, which probably helps with popularity on Instagram.
You'd be absolutely right.
Definitely, yeah. The Senna era, I mean, just so many iconic things about Suzuka. It's fantastic. Number 2, Abu Dhabi. Kind of a weird one, isn't it? 127,000 hashtags versus 254 to Suzuka. So
not a weird one for Instagrammers, probably.
No, probably not.
No, it is a very iconic, visually beautiful track, certainly day and night as it goes into
colourful,
night. Definitely, yeah. Number 3, a relative newcomer, the Circuit of Americas in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Maybe we're working off hashtagging people here. So to be number 3 here, from a Formula One circuit, probably not the ones that immediately come to mind. This is where the credibility falls over for number 4. Mugello. It's a MotoGP circuit, great, but it's only held one Formula One race there. That's a head scratcher, that one.
Yeah,
but anyway, certainly the fact that it actually outranks 5, Monza, Italy, classic track since, almost since the beginning of Formula One itself.
Because I think Monza has had more F1 races than any other circuit. Would that be right?
Sure.
Okay. That's definitely a fact that I know.
Definitely. And number 6, Circuit Paul Ricard. Again, another weird one in France.
That's colourful too.
It is colourful, lots of blue everywhere, runoff areas, but...
Has it hosted a race?
I don't. Has it
I
had
thought
it?
it was
That's
just
a
a
good
test.
question. It has had a
No,
Formula One race.
definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It's had an Audi RS6 launch because I went there.
Look at you. So I thought I'd actually run through my own top Formula One circuits that give better credibility to the Instagram tagging. And I'll run through them quickly. Spa Francorchamps. It's got to be number 1, surely. Number 2, Monaco. How could you not include Monaco because of the history as far as the track goes?
As far as the
but
track goes,
certainly
it's pretty
popularity.
But I mean,
The event of going to Monaco. Adelaide, I've swayed my personal opinion here. Clips of 500 track, the Adelaide Formula One circuit. I love it. Obviously, anyone born in this century probably has no idea what I'm talking about. Suzuka, I've got to put in there as well. And talking Formula One tracks, Nürburgring Nordschleife.
the obvious one.
Surely those are much better 5 versions of the Instagram tracks. I scoff at your Instagram tagging hashtags, especially with Magello. But anyway, nonetheless, we shall move on, shall we? We shall have a quick breather and be back in a moment for a game.
Castrol Edge. More power, same fuel. Unlock the very edge of performance.
All right, we are back with Zooming with Driven, brought to you by Honda. Only one price, the best price. Thank you, Honda. You've been with us for a while, supporting our weekly motoring show, Zooming with Driven. With Easter happening today / this weekend. Yay, 4-day weekend, which is kind of a double-edged sword for us because it's fantastic days off, except Monday kills us because that's,
I'm sure that's true for a lot of people. I'm sure they have very short weeks. They need to work twice as hard to actually have the holiday.
So we've got a bit of a theme game. Tell me what the game is because I don't really know much about it.
We decided in casual conversation over coffee that it would just be fun to imagine what car we would like to take on our Easter long weekend, and we thought it would be fun to make sure it was a clean car because we're modern and eco-conscious. So we had to choose a car that you got a rebate on. It could be any kind of car as long as you get a rebate.
Right.
And the rebate amount is allowed to be used to fund your weekend. So whatever you've got from the rebate, you can spend that on your weekend.
Fair enough. Okay. So because there's plenty of small petrol cars that do get a modest rebate.
Yep.
Do we know what the smallest rebate is? Like a couple of $100 or something like that?
I don't know. I've not seen any rebates in the hundreds. I'm sure that they do exist.
Yeah.
But
I think if you're buying like a used import,
you'd be getting down into the
you're getting
hundreds
quite a
probably.
way down.
So generally speaking, we've got a range here of roughly $1,000 up to the full EV rebate of $8,625 to spend on our holidays because we're also flush with fun.
That's right.
That our full rebate is going on an Easter holiday.
So it was just partly a way, aside from being eco-conscious and modern, it was also a way just to limit ourselves from not just going crazy and all choosing, a long wheelbase Range Rover.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. So basically it's an 80K cap as well.
Yeah.
So of course we've all got 80K to spend, or at least Sam does.
I know I have.
Yeah. $8,000. Okay. Who wants to go first?
I vote Damien go.
Oh, yeah.
Because mine's got a twist.
Well, mine's weird.
Oh, yeah. Obviously. Yeah.
Okay, well, you see, I considered this a lot. Looked at EVs and looked at going right up to the $80,000 cap and having a nice holiday funded by the $8,600 rebate. But then I thought, no, I want a K car.
K car, okay.
I want a K car, and I'm still obsessed with those K camper vans that we talked about a while back.
Yeah, love
so there's a company, there's several, actually, quite a few companies in Japan that do retro kits for Japanese K cars. So my pick is a Suzuki Every van.
Very random.
Yes, which can be had for between $5,000 and $15,000 as a second-hand car in Japan.
I'm glad we got photographs because I have no recognition.
Well, once you've gone for the full body kit,
oh, look at that!
That is what you get.
A cool bus.
Yeah, the cool bus. Now that is with every option on it from the companies, and that is $27,500 worth of options put on top of it to get the lift kit, to get the camper. It's camper conversion inside, so you can sleep in it and all of that.
Cool.
So
would your feet stick out the back? If
probably, yes, almost certainly. So that's around, what's that, 35, 36,000 probably. No, more than that, 40, getting up to 40 grand.
The big question is how much of a rebate would you get?
Well, it's hard to find reliable figures on those, but your average K car has emissions of around 100 grams per kilometre. So you're looking at about $1,000 maybe rebate.
Yep.
Whew, wow. So what are we, 35 grand?
Yeah.
30 to 35 grand and a $1 grand rebate.
$1 grand rebate. But at $25 a night for a powered camping site, that is 40 nights accommodation.
Yeah, right.
So you could just live in it for a
I
year.
could live in it for, 40 nights.
So that is the holiday?
Yep.
Okay.
A long weekend, don't need 40 nights accommodation, so beer.
Okay.
Well, I'll go next because Dean says he doesn't know anything about the game, so he probably needs this time to think about his choice.
I love the commitment to stupidity, though. That's very admirable.
I've based mine on fact, which is what I'm actually doing over the Easter weekend because I love big holidays because we're based in Auckland, so I live in Auckland. The great thing about Auckland on big holidays is everybody goes away.
Yes.
So I love to stay in Auckland on big holidays. So what we're actually doing is going and staying at a very nice hotel on Saturday night in Auckland. So all I need for that is a Fiat 500e, which is a brand new one, pure electric 500e, just released, 65 grand. So I get the full $8,625 back. So that's one night in a very nice hotel. And that's a pretty sweet weekend because I've got like 8,000 and something bucks left to spend. That's it.
That's a good holiday.
That's
That
it.
is pretty good.
And ripping around a deserted Auckland in a Fiat 500e also sounds pretty good to me as well.
What are you spending your $8 grand on?
Jim's going to go crazy. Champagne.
Wow. Casino?
Yep. Casino.
City?
No,
City,
no
knock it
casino.
all over.
No casino. No casino. Yeah, so I mean that's a great weekend, and I would make sure that I spent that $8,625 before sunrise on Tuesday morning.
Wow, that's a good effort.
So yeah, that's me. So I'm not leaving.
No.
Well, there's some vague similarity here because I've gone probably a safer bet in terms of probably the New Zealand Motoring Riders Guild Car of the Year. I've gone for the BYD Atto 3 Extended. It must be in Parkour Red. I don't like the other colours, but every time I see that Parkour Red, I go, I would buy that car. I'm going to be very vacuous and go, I would buy that car based on the colour.
Okay.
I have that same sort of feeling about Mazda colours with the Soul Red.
Yeah.
The Parkour Red is I love it, and it kind of sells it to me. The extended version, it's only $2.5 grand more than the standard range model. So, and it costs $62,490, which is certainly money I do not have. However, we're being hypothetical here. So, which takes it down, less the rebate, takes down to 53,865, 54 grand. Except I'm spending that money. So
I'm going to say you're not counting your
no.
rebate.
So I'm paying the full whack. Of course, I've got 63 grand. I've probably got it in my back pocket. 0 to 107.3 seconds. So we all know the attributes of it. 60 kilowatt battery over the 50 kilowatt in the standard one. 420 k's range. So I'm living with this car. This is fantastic. I've got this for the next few years. Good warranty, good warranty for the battery and everything. And as Sam used to say, what's the turning circle like? 10. Remember, he's forgotten about that. 10,
Yeah, that was this thing.
yeah, 10.7 metres turning circle. So yay, a 5-seat SUV, a decently big boot as well. So it's big enough to chuck the family in there. However, it's my day-to-day car. What I'm taking the $8,500 doing is we're actually going to take the family and fly over to Sydney. So we're going to have a holiday in Sydney for about a week or two, probably during school holidays, although they'd probably like it during school. Off to Sydney, we'll go take the kids to Luna Park, got 3 youngish kids. They'll see where they were born because in the Sydney hospital, they've got little stars when they were born that has their name and their birthday, respectively. And then we'll go up to Queensland and do some more Dream World rides and everything up there. So they've never been there, and the kids were born in Sydney, but our third one was born in Hamilton. So go and experience a little bit of their culture and heritage of Australia.
I can see what you're doing here. You're playing the family card, like it's like appealing to the heart. I think what you haven't realised is you're not taking your car on your holiday.
No.
So I would vote for disqualification.
No, I'm not taking the car. I'm parking at the airport, so I am taking a holiday.
Fair enough.
You're driving it to the airport. That's the road trip.
Yeah, there we go. So which one is best? Should we do a poll? We'll chuck in a wild card, just who knows, something in there. But yeah, vote for who had the stupidest thing.
Well, I think we know.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's normally me, but I think I'm not even close.
I know. I went all out this time.
There we go. There's our Easter holiday sorted. There we go. We're probably already on it by the time we're actually watching this. So print issue this weekend. What have we got on the cover?
We have got Miranda Easton, who is a country singer. She's had quite a bit of success in Australia, and she's had music videos played on US TV as well. And she has got a very special car, and it is a DeLorean.
Yeah, we interviewed her a couple of weeks ago, and so she's loves and passionate about her car. It's her third DeLorean.
Well,
so
she's been here in this seat, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. So, Miranda's on that. And lots more stuff as well. Out Saturday in the Weekend Herald, New Zealand Herald. Check that out on the weekend edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That's where we're probably most daily vocal on Instagram, where we all do our launch event information and almost daily posts. You'll find all those links at the bottom of driven.co.nz. Print edition comes out tomorrow on Saturday. This is our last show for a couple of weeks. We take our school holidays off. It brings a little bit of our sanity back. And Sam doesn't come into the office anyway, so he's not around. So on behalf of the team, have a happy Easter. Drive safe. Keep left unless passing, please. And see you again on April 28th. Thanks for watching.